Morning. Morning, Axe. Yes, good weekend. Had a good weekend. Yes. Still kind of recovering from my cough here, but that's getting better as well. Morning, Keith. Morning, Marcelo. Morning, Jim. All right, guys. I do have the risk disclosure is up and hopefully visible to you guys. Feel free to review it as we wait for folks to join. Yeah, just don't cough. That's easier said than done sometimes, but I'll try to keep that in mind as much as I can. Yeah. So like I was saying, the risk disclosure is up. Just to let everybody know, I'm here not in any sort of I'm here not in any sort of investment advisory capacity or anything along those lines. Is purely for education and information. I'm not so. Yeah, futures trading does contain substantial amount of risk, and you need to be aware of that. So, yes. Hey, Ziggy, how are you? Yes, exactly. We're all here for education, correct? Right. So, hopefully, everyone had a good weekend. All right. Once I get kind of a double-digit number here, we'll go ahead and get started. If you are not a subscriber, or you have yet to maybe click on the subscribe, not the subscribe button, but the like. If you like the content that I provided or hope to provide here today, don't hesitate to hit the like button. Encourage me to do this on a daily basis. That would be helpful to me. Renovation work on Friday. Oh wow, that's a lot of work. You in construction, Ziggy, or this is purely hobby? All right. All right, guys. So let's go again. I'll go ahead and get started. I think you've had a fair opportunity to review the risk disclosure. Oh, sorry to hear that. Okay. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and stop here sharing this one. Let's start with the news, which is always important to start with when we start any session. Okay. It's important to understand to see if there's any news to our ability to navigate the market here. Okay. So I'll refresh this, and I'm going to go ahead and filter it down, excuse me, to US. Okay. US. And I'm going to say 2 and 3 stars. And I'm going to look to the top. I'm going to close this guy off here. And I see that we have absolutely no event scheduled today, which is absolutely fantastic. Okay. Do not have to worry about anything that could jeopardize sort of the moves here or increase the volatility of any move, and also increases the opportunity for these moves to respect the levels that we look at. So that's important. All right. So we'll go ahead and stop sharing. Now we'll go ahead and move to our regularly scheduled set of events. Oh, black screen again. That's okay. No, there's no scheduled events. That's the upshot there. Okay. So I'm gonna double check. Double check here. Looks like it takes a little bit of a delay here to guys get the screens up and running. So be aware of that. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and share the my gold chart here now. We'll give everybody a chance to see the screen. Morning, White Sand. Good morning, Frizu. Yeah. So if I can get an affirmative that they do see the screen, that there's no black screen, everything clear, awesome. Okay, so I can go ahead and proceed and uh, and not be peppered with messages in Discord. Okay, perfect. All right. So here we are. Now, since I'm going to go ahead and clear some of this, guys. What I can anyway. Okay, so I'll remove some of the drawings here. I do on start of every week. I like looking at least peek at the weekly. Okay, weekly and sometimes even the monthly chart. All right. Just again to kind of get us a bearing on what is the general direction that we're headed right now, right? Well, again, looking at the weekly, if you ever have doubts about what direction the market is headed, move up a time frame, right? Sometimes the short time frame we get the zigs and the zags, and it's difficult for us to tell what direction the market is trying to go. So when you run into that kind of situation, it's always good to kind of take a look at a higher time frame chart, or at least continue moving up a high time frame until you get to clarity on direction. Okay, so as we all know, gold has been in a steady uptick for some time, and there is really nothing in this chart that indicates that there's anything um, necessarily impeding that. Okay, nothing structure wise that indicates. Now we had a down week. Okay, and it looks like we have a start of potentially another down week in gold. This is I guess the first time in some time that we opened the week below VWAP. Okay, so is it a change in direction in the market? I don't know. Could it be just a small retracement back down to say 2,300? That's what it feels like to me. Okay, but like I said, in the uh, the idea here is that we're still very much in up. Okay, we are starting to see a little bit of evidence that maybe we might be headed a bit lower. I mean, if it does manage to break this weekly channel, then we're probably looking around 2,200 or 2150. Okay, before we can get there, we need to break below the channel here for that to necessarily happen, at least for me to validate that as potential of happening. Okay. All right. So we know that the weekly is in an uptrend. Okay. We're going to go ahead and open up the daily chart. The daily chart is also giving us the same kind of feel. The channel is, probably a little bit on the shorter side. We have a little bit of a rounding top here. On the channel, maybe if I draw this a little bit closer to the action here, we see that we've gotten a break below a channel here. Okay. And we're now hovering at the lower end of, the institution or Bigfoot sister that generate this on Friday. Okay. Or yeah, Monday of last week. Okay. So now we're kind of hovering around the end of this. Now the question is this going to springboard another move higher? Okay. Or is it going to continue? Now, again, I think we've drawn this before, but I do see that there is a demand level. What causes me to draw this demand level? Well, what causes me to draw this demand level is this area right here, right? What I see here is the demand. Okay. This is the trigger. um, this is the trigger for that demand. Okay. Right about there. Right. If you see that green bar underneath that yellow circle, that is the conviction bar that I'm using to trigger the current move. Now, as long as that trigger bar remains intact, then I'm inclined to think that we are going to head higher. Okay. All right. That's who I think is controlling this move at the moment. All right. Now we have an equal bar going the opposite way, right? So we could be in a range, right? Could be in a range. here, right between the top of 2400 down to the bottom of, I don't know what this is, 2340 or 2330. We could stay in this range, right? So that's kind of what's causing me to draw. Now I can equally draw a similar bar on the top. The only thing that's different about the top is I don't have, right? I can do this, no problem, right? What doesn't give me much confidence in this area is I haven't had any sort of test of that level, right? I have not had I have not had price head up to that level and reverse away from it. So I'm not as confident of this area as I am of this, even though I do see that we did have a rather large conviction bar to the downside, right? I still would like to see price head up to this area and reject away from it. At which point, I'm gonna go ahead and actually color this in as a little bit lighter, just to indicate that I'm still kind of waiting or looking for some confirmation or rejection away from this level. Okay, so daily chart. Um, I, for me, it looks more like it's in a range. Okay, right now I'm not seeing any breaks of any sort of significant structure in either direction. Okay, even though I received a bearish, engulfing, breaking a channel to the upside. It has yet to break the demand below it. It reacted away from it. So, for me on the daily. All right, so 4 hour. All right, 4 hour chart hovering on the low end. Okay, hovering on the low end of this swing. Okay, so the bulls have yet to make a significant move, or have had some difficulty taking the market back. We had a relatively strong bullish candle come in sometime in the middle of in the overnight trading, and has remained above it, which is a good sign. Created another, I would say, mini demand zone here. Okay, another little mini demand zone here, right? I color that in as kind of green again. Okay, so a little another mini demand zone. So which could indicate, right, that we head higher, right, from here. Um, right? So, but we're still maintain this or controlled to some degree by this swing lower. All right. So let's take a look at the 30-minute. What does the 30 minutes tell us? 30-minute tell us. Okay, widen this up here, guys. Might want to remove some of these. Okay, let's move some of these. Okay, we have a developed initial balance range. We're below this EMA, we're below the VWAP, all kind of indicating potential of lower prices. We are currently reacting off of a demand zone here on the 30-minute. See a demand zone here, and we're reacting away from it. Question is it going to sustain? Is it going to hold? We don't know. If not, the next stop for this market looks to me like it's going to be down here at 2340, 2336, 2335. We have an initial balance range that doesn't look too much out of the ordinary. Okay, so let's take a look at the fixed range volume profile. Okay, fixed range volume profile is under here somewhere. Where is it? There it is. So we're going to locate the Friday bar of 8:30. Okay, right there. Drag that across to the 4:30 bar, and here's our volume profile, which we are below. Okay, so it's opened inside. Okay, on the low end, inside of value, but immediately broke to the downside. Okay, we are at a demand zone, and looks like we have found some buyers who are interested at this 2342 level. at least for now. The question is, do they have the resources? Do they have the resources to to cause this market to go back up? Now let's go ahead and open up ADR. Okay, so we have ADR to the top side. Okay, gonna color this in a little bit more. Put in a little darker color on these things so everybody can see them. Okay, there they are. There's the ADR to the top side, the ADR to the bottom side. All right, so like I said, initial balance is not as daunting as maybe some of the initial balances we've had in the recent past. This seems more of the normal range. All right, so we have ADR here to the top. So we're going to go ahead and call these levels out. So we have ADR high here at what looks like 2467.9. 24 or 23? 2367.9. Okay. .9. ADR low is 2327.4. 2327.4. And we have settlement at 2349.6. Settlement 2349.6. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and turn this ADR off here and open up ASR. Okay, ASR. So we have 23 a little higher. Looks like ASR a little higher. So 2370. 2370.4. Okay, 2370.4 to the upside. And then to the bottom side, we have 2041.6, looks like, or maybe even higher than that. Let's see. 2043.6. 2043.6. ASR 2346.6. All right, so we are right in smack in the middle of ASR. Okay, right. We are inside initial balance. We have ADR just below us, so I'm going to turn this off here for a second because I got way too many lines. That's actually not ASR, ADR. That's actually supply demand zone. So let's see if I can. Yeah. So we are coming off ASR and this demand zone that we had created. So this again could lead us to price heading higher from here. Okay, we could see something like this head higher from here, right? If we are able to break some structure. Now this would be I guess potentially a reasonable long at this location. I'd like to see at least the 30. Well, I'm going to wait for at least an hour here before I do anything in this market. But we are starting to see some reaction. Certainly, you need to wait for at least a minimum 30-minute bar to give you some indication that the buyers can sustain whatever buying that they're doing at the moment. Okay. Because we've been down, or actually under seller control, since the tail end of the London market. Okay, we've just come into an area of demand. Okay, now could potentially reverse from this level. All right, we have another kind of area that I would be interested in seeing the behavior away on, and that would be the top end of this here. Right, again, I'm going to color in as a lighter kind of pink. because I've yet to see any sort of rejection away from it. I am seeing some rejection coming off of this demand zone. We're going to turn this off here for a second because it is very red. Okay. Oops. That's not what I want to do. Let's do this one right here. All right. So we are coming off. You can see how we're getting a very strong buying wick coming together. If we look at this on the 15-minute chart, we probably are developing another bullish engulfing candle here, right? Now, if this engulfing remains, then again, it could provide us opportunity to the upside. Now, this is all taking place a lot earlier than I normally look at this market. So probably we'll wait for another 15-minute bar here before, you know, I take any sort of action. Okay. So not 15, another half hour, I should say, before I take any sort of action, because technically we are still below VWAP. Okay. And kind of keeping this EMA here of 233 as also my guide here, right? We're below VWAP, below EMA of 233. So for me, you know, in order to entertain this, I would probably need to see a break and close above this EMA and VWAP, and which will probably translate an extension above initial balance to entertain a long here in gold. Okay. All right. I think that's all I have to say for gold. I'm going to peek here in the markets. Where is ASR low? Well, we were right in the middle of it. ASR low was inside this area here. All right. The same area. I'll turn it back on. But ASR low was, we're inside of it already. So this is on the bottom end of this box is 23.39.3. Okay, the bottom end. The top end we've already captured inside the text box earlier. Okay, so we're right smack. Is this the right? Let's see. Where is? Yeah, this is ASR. This is ASR low. It's just colored in a weird way. So let's fix that. Okay, so this should be the lower range is should be green, and the upper range should be red. Okay, so yes, this is the lower end, okay, of the range. It was just colored in a weird way. All right. So Frizu, what the ASR low is here. Okay, already captured. 23 at, well, actually 23 should be 23. Actually is 2343.1. Okay, 2343.1. Okay. Oops. 2343.1. Okay, that's the level, right? And we're right smack in the middle of it. Okay. So hopefully that answers your question, Frizu. All right. Okay, so we have a again structure developing for potential prices to move higher. This is coming together a bit early for me, so me personally, I'm going to wait for potentially another half hour here for initial balance to complete before I entertain anything in gold. However, we are showing signs that we are reached an area where we can potentially reverse, all right, to the upside. All right, to make this kind of very visible here. Okay. All right, so that's what I have to say for gold. I'm going to take a peek here, see if there's any questions. No questions. So now I'm going to go ahead and move to crude oil and kind of speed this process up because I did spend quite a bit of time on gold. All right, so again, same kind of review, guys. I'm going to go ahead and remove some of my drawings. I'm going to start off with the weekly chart, okay, just to get a feel for what it's trying to do there. And okay, so we are kind of in this consolidation pattern, although the consolidation right now is on the upward swing. I'm seeing a, you know, kind of a triangle pattern being developed here. Okay, this is the top end of the triangle. This is the bottom end of the triangle. We're kind of getting closer and closer to the apex of this triangle, which means that we're looking like we're going to be heading into a relatively large move in crude oil at some point here. Okay, This here is a warning about the ASR levels, that they don't work very well in time frames that are greater than 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off for now. So yeah, we are in a consolidation. We are in the upper end of this triangle pattern. So the expectation, at least from the weekly, is that we continue to the bottom of this. Okay, that's kind of if this is going to remain, right? And we're going to continue kind of coiling our way through this triangle pattern until we get to a point where we break out of it in one direction or the other. We are like the gold market. We are above this EMA, okay, of 233 that I've just recently added to my charts, which indicates that we are in a kind of a bullish, I guess, in general for the market in this consolidation pattern, a triangle consolidation pattern that we're currently witnessing. Okay, so let's take a look at the daily. All right, so daily, here we are, daily coming off the top end of this consolidation, this wedge pattern that we've talked about. We came down to an area where we would expect to see buyers. It's reacted away from it, and we're currently above VWAP. All right, so I would be inclined to do something like this. All right, color that as a green. All right. And now, my thought process is, well, if I'm going to maintain this thought process of long, okay, then I need to remain inside this channel. Okay, if I remain in this channel, then the path of least resistance is to the upside. I do not want to see this channel get broken to the downside. If it does, then it indicates to me that what we were seeing on the weekly is continue to the left. We're going to see another leg down. Okay, and maybe come back down to revisit this EMA level of 233, and eventually the bottom of this wedge pattern. Okay. So very important for me if I'm thinking bullish on this market, that this price action remain inside this channel to the upside. We've already gotten a reaction away from this area. Okay. Now it's a matter of how well the bulls are going to be able to sustain this move to the upside for me. All right. We don't have initial balance. Why is that? Oh, because we're not. Okay, so let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart. Not exactly sure why I'm not seeing a developing initial balance at the moment. Okay, wondering about that a little bit. Okay. Okay, so any case, here we are looking at the 4-hour chart. Looks a bit busy here, so I'm going to go ahead and remove my channels here for a moment. Remove channels, remove this. We're going to turn off initial balance because it's not really displaying what I wanted to display at the moment. So here we are above the EMA we talked about on the daily. We are, come off here, another 4-hour demand. Again, similarly, another 4-hour demand. But this time we've respected this level at 84. Okay. So 84 was kind of some support to the downside. Okay. So we're kind of caught in between, which doesn't, bode well for either direction at the moment. We did make a new high. We have yet to make a new low, right? New low would be below this 83 level. All right. If we do make a new low, then we could be headed to lower pricing here. Okay. Looking at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart is telling us that we're right up against this EMA, just below it. We had a massive candle here. Let's see if I can get my initial balance to draw. There it is. My initial balance is in development. Okay, and it's 4 minutes into the session for crude oil. Not really taking any specific direction here, other than just prior to the market opening, it dumped. Okay, it dumped pretty strong here, leading up to the open here. Now it's reached the demand zone, right, and it's caused some buyers to kind of step in here. Now the question becomes, is whoever this person is going to allow price to head too much higher, all right, before he or she wants to step in again. Okay. So we have a developing initial balance. The initial balance is really not that intimidating. It's still really tight, but we're still, only 5 minutes into the session. Okay. So let's take a look at fixed range volume profile. Let's go back to the 6 a.m. bar. Here we are. Drag that across to the 4:30 bar. Okay, here we are, and we are below value. Okay, indicating that the sellers are in control of the market. We are up against an area of demand, where we would expect to see some buyers, and we are, okay, right here. We are seeing some buying. All right, so this area, no matter how daunting this selling is, could lead to some higher prices. The only problem is I don't like the fact, and the large reason that we're having a sloping, VWAP to the downside is probably the result of this recent 30-minute candle that just closed to the downside. Nonetheless, we have to respect what we see, right? So until further notice, until we get potentially a new high or a break of VWAP, we probably are kind of still in the sort of the grips of the bears here. Okay, below value, massive bearish candle to the downside. The only thing that really, I guess, is in the favor of the bulls here at the moment is the fact that we are reacting away from a prior demand zone. All right, so let's take a look and see. Let's add our ADR levels. So let's ADR levels here and see if we can get those drawn in. Where are they? They're here up in the bottom, really narrow. Okay, so let's see if we can call these levels out. So I'm going to go ahead and add them here. So ADR levels. Okay, so we go ADR high, and that's let's call it right. Let's see, 82. Let's call it 82.65. 82.65 downside. ADR low. That was ADR low. I just gave you guys ADR low, not ADR high. Let's locate ADR high now. ADR high. Oh, does not like. Okay, let's do it this way. DR high. Okay. So ADR high here is 84.74. 84. Oops. Oh, come on now. 84.74 is ADR high. We have settlement at 83.66. Settle at 83.66. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and turn off ADR, and we're going to do the same for ASR. Okay, so ASR is a lot narrower here. So see if I can modify this without much of a pain. So I have ADR low, high at 84.05, 84.05. ADR low at 82.49, 82.49. Oh, geez, come on now. 82.49. Okay. 82 for just double checking. Yeah, 82.49. And here we are. Those are the reference levels that are important to us. Not on yet. Well, I have already actually settlements below it. Okay, so here we are. So I'm going to wait for this initial balance to kind of complete before I make any sort of decisions in the market, because the market right now is got both ends, doesn't really understand what direction it wants to go to next. It's come across some buyers, and the buyers are, I guess, are saying to themselves, yeah, well, this is not a bad level for me to want to participate. But the buyers were wiped out in one fall swoop. Okay, so this could indicate that there's stronger players in the market, and it could cause price to head lower back down to ASR low in this case. Okay. All right, that's kind of what I'm seeing in the crude oil market. I'm going to take a look here, see if there's any questions. No questions. All right, so we'll start to move into the equities. So let's start with our equity of choice, the equity of choice of most people, our bright red Ferrari, and that is NASDAQ. All right, so taking a look at the weekly here. Let's start with the weekly. Weekly is, again, I think we're, had kind of this break lower structure here to the downside, only to be met with buyers. Okay, people have taken this opportunity to start to buy this area. Okay, still below VWAP. We are trying to develop a bullish candle just below 18,000. So trend. If this wasn't here, I would have maybe a different view, right? This is not a large red candle, but this is what I got last week, and I have now another candle that is not quite as daunting to the upside, but still bullish. Okay, would like to see price break above this 18,200. Okay, 18,400 before I can maybe really change my conviction to the upside. Okay, daily chart. Looking at the daily is giving us more of a view to the bullish side. Okay, we're seeing price here close above VWAP with a sloping VWAP to the upside. All right, now do we have some headwinds? Yeah, we're at one right now, but the big headwinds are around 18,400. This is where I would expect price to stall here a bit. Okay, if you look at this level here, this area here seems like it could cause price to go horizontal and maybe even potentially reverse here. Okay, 18,400 up to 18,575 is an area that could cause price to stall, right? So we have to factor that in whatever move that we're in right now, right? We see some clear sailing from here to 18,200, but beyond that, could be met with some stiff headwinds. Okay, all right. So that's the daily. Looking at the 4-hour. Okay, 4-hour, same kind of thing. We're below VWAP, not below VWAP. We're just above VWAP, below EMA to 233. Okay, still kind of, again, relatively nice reference level. The EMA, if we can't get above it, could serve as a reference level for us for price to head lower. Should we manage to close above it, then and test against it and hold, that could be a reference level to support a long up to 18,200. Okay. All right. Looking at the 30-minute. Okay. So 30-minute chart. All right. So initial balances has not started because the market won't be open for another 15 minutes. Okay. So we are above the initial balance range from Friday's trading. We have yet to draw the fixed range volume profile, which I'm going to do next here. I'm going to locate the 630 bar, which is right here, drag that across to the 430 bar is just right here. And we are right now currently above in the value area from Friday. So that indicates that we could see potential prices heading higher. Okay, in NASDAQ. Problem is, we're kind of at the top of the market. not super keen on participating at the top of the market. If anything, I would look for maybe an opportunity here off of value area high, which is 17,890. All right, that would be a good reference level to participate in a long. Ideally, this move all would move all the way back down to settlement price at 17,836 would be a good level to participate. We also have a demand level here, has not tested. All right, it could serve as a bounce area for NASDAQ. Okay, so I have three locations. Value area high at 17, what's that? 17,890. Okay, I have 17,880, and I have 17,836. If I'm long, that's where I'd like to be. If I'm a seller, well, I'm at a level now. I'm at a level now. It came up to this level, sold off. Now it's at that level again. And what is it doing? Developing a bearish candle. Okay. So that could lead to a price heading all the way down to the this demand level here. Okay. Certainly enough of a range for us to participate in the trade should we decide, and if it's within our risk parameters. I don't know exactly how much you would need to risk, but it would need to be above this structure here to the top. All right. What else? Let's look at some of these ADR levels. See where we are in reference to these ADR levels. Okay, so we have ADR to the top side. Okay, and the bottom side, we're kind of in the middle. Okay, so this level up here, I'm going to go ahead and start to chart this up. So ADR high is 18. What is it? 18,039. ADR high 18,039. ADR low is, what is it? 17,690. 17,690. And then 690. And then we have settlement, which I've already mentioned already in our review, is 17,836.75. Okay, is what we have. Now let's go ahead and add these ASR levels. Okay, ASR levels are coming in. It looks like we've already exceeded them. Okay, so this area could be another area that could provide some support. So we have, let's call it 17,860 to the upside. 17,860 to the upside. 17,860 to the upside. And what do we have here on the bottom? We have 17,551.50. Okay, 17,551.50. Okay, is to the bottom side. All right, that's kind of what I'm seeing. Settlement is not spelled right. Let's go ahead and change that to E. I think that's kind of what we're looking at here. All right, so that's kind of what we're looking at right now, kind of ranging, I guess. We have a top side where we have some candles development that could indicate that we could make another swing to the downside. Yet to be determined. Market has yet to open, so we'll have to remain patient for initial balance. For those who are doing opening range, again, we're kind of on the top end of the range here. Difficult to say whether we'll continue to the upside since it's already kind of reacting off to the top here. Like I said, a buyer, I'm looking at lower prices. If I'm a seller, I might be at that location now. Okay, to reference. All right, would like to see price close below VWAP for sure. I don't like to see wicks, as it's trying to get below VWAP. But and nonetheless, that this would be a reference level. I could get potentially hit by a freight train right here if I decide to go short. Okay, but that's something to keep in mind. At least I can relatively manage the amount of risk I need to take in this trade. All right, so take a peek here. There's a gap that needs to be filled. Castro. Okay, so where's the gap? Where do I see the gap? Oh, there is a gap down here. Okay, and it needs to be filled. Yeah, the question is when is that going to happen, Castro? I mean, it may or may not happen today. right? It could hover above this area without ever filling the gap, but the gap will get filled at some point, right? No doubt about that. Okay. So in any case, I think that's kind of a clear that's kind of a clearer picture of where we stand right now. I'm not, as much as I'd like to, buy, I'm not really keen at the top of the market. If I'm going to be a buyer, I need to wait for, maybe even use the gap, as Castro has mentioned, as kind of my reference level to support a long. Okay. For now, if I'm not keen on selling equities, then I need to sit on my hands. There's really nothing to do for me on the buy side. Me personally, I would like to see a move back down to this area, this demand level below or on top of ASR for me to participate. All right. All right. So let's take a look at the ES. I don't suspect this ES is going to give us a whole lot of differences, but let's take a look. Okay. Here we are. Okay. Let's go ahead and turn these ADR levels off here for a second. Here, let's quickly take a look at the weekly. Okay. All right. So we have a reaction away from a weekly demand zone, still technically below VWAP, although it's flirting with it, breaking VWAP to the upside. We had a break of structure to the downside. Right now, it appears that they use that as an opportunity to buy at a discount. Right now, that's what it appears to me. But the true test is to see how it reacts when it gets up to these levels. This area right here seems like a ripe area for sellers to step back in, right? Want to be super careful if I'm a buyer trying to buy inside this area, because I could be met with sellers, and these sellers may not be very nice to my longs. All right, if I'm in long. Okay. All right. Daily chart. Okay, same kind of action we saw in the NASDAQ. We have a break above VWAP, indicating that we could see prices to go higher. Where do I see sellers? Well, 5,200. 5,200 seems like a level where we could see some sellers. Okay, 5,200 looks like a level we can see some sellers. Don't know if this is going to, because I've yet to some rejection. We did get a little bit of rejection here. So this may be an area that gets respected. I don't know. If I'm a buyer, I'd like to see price head, pierce through this, close above it, and then maybe I'm a buyer on top of this level. What was resistant become support. I'm not really keen on participating in the middle of these swings, exposing myself to both directions here. Okay. Right now, the direction seems to be higher. 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart. We're developing a little bit of structure here on the top end of VMA. Looks like we closed above it, came back below it. Now we're flirting with closing above it. If we do break above it, then we open up a path to 5,200. Okay. 30-minute chart. Okay. So now, again, initial balance is not present because the market is yet to open. It'll open here in about 7 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my ADR levels. ADR levels indicate that I have some a move right around that level that we've been talking about as a barrier here. Okay, so 5176 is one of those levels. 50 ADR high, 5176, 5176. Okay, settle is 5131. Excuse me, 5131, 31.75. And then we have ADR low at, let's see, looks like it's 5104, 5104, 5104. We're going to go ahead and turn that off. And we're going to add the ASR levels. ASR levels, well, it looks like ASR, we're already at a level. 50 at the top end, 51, 54, 51, 44, is it? 44.50. Okay. And then we have we have ASR low, which is, let's say 50.78.50, 50.78.50. Okay. 50.78.50. 50. All right. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. We're at, we're hovering right on top of ASR. Now, the longer we stay here without making a new high, well, it leads me to think that it's going to come back down, potentially, go inside. This is not what I'm looking at, what I thought I was looking at. So let me draw that in. Let's draw in. I thought this was the value area range. It turns out it is not. It is the initial balance range from Friday. So I'm going to go do this and close it here. And here we okay. So what I was about to initial balance also applies here. So if we do get price to close back inside this value range, then we have a 80% chance. And this gap that Castro had mentioned on Nasdaq seems much more likely to me, given the proximity of this. Okay, so and this also around settlement price. So this looks more appealing, I guess, to me, at least a little bit more clear to me that maybe price will head lower here, fill in this gap, and provide us an opportunity to go long. Let's call it at 51.3250. All right, that would be kind of a logical area for me to see. There is a 51.3775 that could also be supportive for a long, right? Not really keen on going long at the upper end of this range. All right, would be more inclined to fade it, but I do realize that we are starting to see some price action on the higher time frame chart that indicates that price wants to head higher. Okay, all right, quick peek. Okay, you're welcome, Frizu. Let's take a close out with the YM here, guys. Looks like I might creep into the open here. I apologize to those, but hopefully those who are trading the Nasdaq and the ES have the information that they need to go ahead and move to the markets. So let's take a look at the YM. So we'll move to the weekly. We'll do the same kind of review we've been doing with the other market. Again, weekly, coming off a weekly demand zone, still technically below VWAP. Still, out of all the candles that I see here, these two candles indicate that the bears are in control of the market, right? The buying candles are not quite as strong as I've seen on the bearish candles. So that leads me to that the bears are still in control of the market. Daily chart. Unlike the other markets, we did get a break above. Now it managed to get below, and we're still below. All right, so maybe a little bit more bearish. YM's a bit more bearish than maybe the other markets that we've been watching, and as far as specifically ES and Nasdaq. All right, let's take a look at the 4-hour. 4-hour again, still below VWAP, right up against settlement price, still below EMA. All right, so below. For me, feels like it has the opportunity to go do one of these numbers. I do see that there is some support here at 38,250, which is also the bottom of the initial balance range from Friday. That could be supportive. Okay, looking at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart. Here we are, right above a lot of confluence here. Okay, to the long side. All right. I have ASR. I'm going to go ahead and turn off ASR here for a minute and add ADR. Okay. I meant to turn it off. Let's go turn it off. Okay. So, all right. So we have ADR here to the downside, ADR to the upside over here. So let's see. We have 38.7. What is that? 737. Is that right? Let's see if I can stretch this out here. Looks like 735 on the upper end. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead ADR high at what is that? 38. 38,735. ADR low. ADR low. Low at let's say 38,246. 38,246. 38,246. We have settle at 38,453. Now I'm gonna go ahead and close down ADR and add ASR. We have on the upper end, we have 38,675. ASR 38,675. And then on the lower end, we have 38,319. 38,319. All right. I think that's what we have going on. All right. So we are already now in the open of the market. Okay. Waiting for this initial balance to kind of develop here. So we're starting to see some price action kind of react away from settlement here, and creating something above VWAP. All right, could lead to head at least as high as ASR, which is kind of the first order of business, I would say. So yeah, if it's going to sustain long, it needs to break above and close above this 30-minute structure here on the left-hand side. Okay. All right. Don't want to take any kind of focus away from the market here, from those who are looking to trade the opening range here, kind of in the minute here. So let's take a look and see if there's anybody who has any questions on the market here. It looks like we're already getting kind of a reaction of selling here up the top. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much all I have, guys, for the markets. I do apologize that we carried this all the way through to the start. I think the review of the weekly kind of set us back here a bit. If you have not hit the like button as you exit the door here or exit the session, I would encourage you to do that. If you are not a subscriber and you like what I have to say here about the markets, I'd encourage you to subscribe as well. So with that being said, trade well, trade safe. It is Monday. All right. We have a whole week ahead of us. We don't need to rush into any sort of trades. Wait for the trades to come to us. And like every day, okay, we want to trade. We want to trade like a market trader. All right, guys. We'll talk same time tomorrow. All right, Castro. You're welcome. Bye, all.